Well, a huge welcome. It is Tuesday, and it is Tuesday live lesson from us here at the Digital DJ Tips DJ School. It's great to have you here. I think you're going to enjoy today's lesson, and this is especially for you today if you are someone who is maybe new to DJing, or you've tried DJing and it's not really clicked, and you thought, you know what, I might go and get some help. I might come to Digital DJ Tips, or I might go to one of the other DJ schools out there. I might find a DJ tutor in my town or get someone to help me. And someone has told you, nah, you can't learn DJing. You either got it or you haven't. If it's not here, then don't bother. It's not one of those things you can go and learn. I think it's the worst piece of DJ advice that anyone could ever give you. We come back to this regularly. I spoke about it on our podcast recently, and we come back to it regularly because it's bunkum, it's rubbish. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome if you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We are live, which means you can comment. I'd love you to tell me the worst bit of DJing advice you've ever been given in the comments, and we'll get to that at the end. And if you're brand new to this, we're Digital DJ Tips. We teach DJing, we review DJ gear, and we keep you up to date with everything going on in the DJ industry. Okay, let's get started. So here's the backstory. I was just doing what a good DJ tutor does recently, browsing around on the internet, and I came across a really nicely written, well argued post on Reddit on a beginner DJ forum, which was basic. Well, I'll show you the post. Hello, that's me. I'll show you the post. So the post is this. I teach DJ courses. If you need one, reconsider DJing. Okay. Now this upset me. I'm a DJ tutor, of course it upset me. So what I thought we'd do today is go through this, as I say, well-argued post line by line, and I've got nothing at all against the person who wrote this. They've done it anonymously because they work for a DJ school, all will become clear. That's absolutely fine. I've got no personal beef with this person. It's not as if I haven't heard this a million times. I just think it's something that, because my first loyalties with our students and with people who want to learn DJing, I think I've got to take a stand on this. So we will. So we're going to go through this line by line, and I'm going to read out to you every part of this post on the Beat Match Reddit. So I'm a DJ in a European capital with a reasonably healthy club scene. I'm not a big player. I'm not a name you'd recognise, but I'm around the local scene pretty regularly, and I get brought out to neighbouring countries and festivals now and then. Doesn't it remotely pay the bills? So I also do lessons now and then. I'm posting from a throwaway since that would be bad for business. It's probably bad anyway, but you know. Right, okay, here's my first beef. I sometimes teach lessons now and then. Now I'm sorry, but teaching is a noble art and profession. It's not something you just delve into now and then. It's like, and I'm going to come back to this later on, I'm a runner. I love running. It's like me getting the person I see on a park run once a month to give me a few tips on running. Fair play, right? But don't expect decent tuition. And be a little bit wary of people whose level of commitment to teaching is teaching a few lessons now and then because my DJing won't pay me enough money. Okay? Think about that. So let's move back to the narrative. The one thing this has taught me above all else is that actually needing a DJ course, i.e. you can't figure it out yourself and you're actually benefiting from the lessons, is a big sign that you won't be getting club gigs, regardless of what my boss told you. I'll come back to that. That isn't to say every student I've ever had is bad, but the ones that had some real potential all quit after a couple of lessons at most. Every student I've ever had for an extended period of time doing intermediate or advanced lessons is one for whom it has not clicked and for whom it might not ever click. They can reach a certain level of technical proficiency, but they don't ever become interesting, confident, or creative DJs. Wow. Okay, so there's a couple of things to unpack here. The first thing I want to talk about here is this idea that you go to a DJ school because you want to become a club DJ, right? So again, back to the fact I'm a runner. I like running. It's like me getting a running coach because I want to become a top international athlete, right? You know, there's reality here. Does that mean that if you want to learn to DJ, you shouldn't get a DJ tutor, even if the idea of being a top international club DJ is unrealistic? I'd argue probably not. Club gigs are hard to get. They always have been hard to get. They were hard to get when I was a young DJ. That's why I started my own club. Being a DJ promoter, running my own club is my personal route into all of this because it was so hard just to get the club gigs. And then they followed, but that was one way of doing it. But let me tell you, it was never easy. DJing is much bigger than the club. Nowadays, more than ever, DJing is huge. So the idea that you need to be aiming to be a club DJ in order to pay for lessons, to get someone to teach you, to get a friend to help you or whatever, I don't get a whole so much water. You know, hobby DJing, making mixtapes, live streaming, playing in your local bar, playing for your friends, making mixes that you can listen to when you're out and about, just mixing the music you've always loved for fun, for a nostalgia trip. These are all perfectly valid reasons to get into DJing. You don't need to be aiming at the club to start with. But the other bit that really got me here was this bit where he says, regardless of what my boss told you. So we've got here an anonymous DJ tutor who works for a DJ school, whose boss is telling these people, and I'm getting a vibe of rich kids in a trendy European city here. He's telling these rich kids with too much money that he's going to get them superstar club gigs, right? If they just come and spend money at his DJ school. I'm assuming it's a he. So look, we see this all the time. Just recently, I saw a terrible thread on social media of a DJ school in a really trendy place that had taken a lot of money from hard selling to people. We're not talking just a couple of $100s on a DJ course. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands, prompting people to sell their cars, saying, look, you're going to be able to buy a better car in 6 months if you buy this DJ training, and then you can come and I will turn you into a superstar. We see it all the time, right? And it's rubbish. It just isn't true. It's unrealistic expectations being set. So that annoyed me as well. There are too many schools behaving like that, lying to people to take large amounts of money from them in order to make them famous. And that's not something we would ever promise. It's not something our students want from us. But look, that's bad. So look, DJ training is not all about getting club gigs. And if someone promises you club gigs, be very, very careful who you're dealing with, I would say there. And they can reach a certain level of proficiency, but they don't ever become interesting, confident, or creative DJs. Let me tell you something. Many, many DJs have already reached that stage of technical proficiency and remain boring. And I'm not talking about like this year, last year. I'm talking about literally forever. I remember back in the day, some of these records are from the 90s, when I was DJing full-time with vinyl all over the place in Manchester in England, where I am from. And the DJs on the scene then were all playing vinyl, and learning to DJ on vinyl was not easy. So therefore the number of DJs out and about was less. So in other words, supply and demand. Generally, if you got to the point where you could beat mix nicely and had a decent record collection and you turned up on time, you could quite often get gigs. At that point, I remember looking around the scene, looking around the people playing in the clubs, looking around the people playing, because there was a DJ everywhere, like every bar, every lounge, everything. And you know what? There was an awful lot of DJs who'd reached a certain level of technical proficiency, but were not interesting, creative, or confident. They'd just reached a level of technical proficiency, right? So what this guy here is saying is that, you know, you can take someone and teach them all the DJing in the world, but they might not ever become something original, something interesting or confident. And look, that's absolutely true. I remember once where I learned the difference between taking a pile of records that you think you should be playing and mixing them competently and playing from your heart, right? This is a lesson all DJs have to learn. But the point is, you've got to do it to learn it. So here's my story. I was living in a shared house, right? I'd been a student. I wasn't a student anymore, but there's a total hangover from my student days. I was probably 24, and I was living in a shared house with some friends. So imagine there's 4 or 5 of us living in this big house in South Manchester. Record decks, parties every night. You know, it was great time to be there. A great time to be in Manchester in the 90s. And I think I'd split up with a girl or something. I was in a really, really foul mood with life, like, you know, like young people can get. And so I just got onto my decks, and instead of mixing all the trendy music from Beatport and Beatsource and Spotify, of course, that wasn't what we had then. We had the local record shop, and I had my pile of trendy 12 inches, but that's the modern equivalent. Instead of mixing them like I had been doing, trying to get gigs in clubs, trying to do all the stuff that this guy's talking about here, I just wanted to let the world know how pissed off I was. And so I went through my record collection with everything from when I was 10 years old until then, 15 years worth of music, playing really, really loud the tracks that really, really said something about how I felt or made me feel better. And I just played and played and played my heart out, and in the end was having a really great time. And then there was a bang on the door, and it was my friend Karen. My friend Karen, who was one of the housemates living with me at the time, said, Phil, this is the best DJ set I've ever heard you play. And I was like, shit, I didn't know anyone was in, you know, trying to preserve my cool and my trendiness. And that's when the penny dropped. That's when I realized that if you're not playing the music you love from your heart, you are never going to be interesting, confident, or creative. No DJ tutor can teach you that, right? It's one of the prerequisites here at our school. When we talk to people, we're like, well, why do you want to do this? And I'm looking for them to say, because I want to share the music I love with the world. To me, that's something that you have to decide yourself. No tutor can tell you that. But to say that you don't deserve DJ lessons because you might never figure that out, I don't know. That doesn't sit nicely with me at all. So anyway, there we go. That's the music bit. No one can teach you to be interesting, confident, and creative. If you walk in here and you're not an interesting, confident, or creative person, confidence we can work on, but interesting and creative, I don't know. It's either in you or it isn't, right? We can blow on the flame, which is another thing that tutors do very well if they know what they're doing, and help you turn it into something a lot quicker than you could on your own. But you've got to have that spark. I agree with that. Let's move on then. So the truth is that these days, every relevant skill in DJing is extremely simple to work out for yourself. You just need to spend a lot of time listening to music and looking for music you like, then putting it into your DJ software and experimenting with it. A few YouTube videos will help, but you'll never get more from being told something than from finding it out yourself. No, 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 no. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. Look, DJing is not just grabbing a load of music and finding it out for yourself. DJing is 5 things. We talk about it in our book. Some of you will have seen our book. We talk about the 5 things in here very, very clearly because they're very important. And if you don't get all 5 of them, you ain't ever going to get this game of DJing. They are gear, the technical stuff, the geeky stuff, game staging, where everything plugs together, etc., etc. Their music, modern music, is not easy to understand if you're not used to the way it works. The way you obtain music, the way you download music, music file formats, how to organize your music, how to prepare your music, where to keep it, how to back it up. Mixing. So what do you actually do with that music on the gear? And how much do you need to know before you can move on to performing? Little answer, not very much. As long as you can keep the levels right, cut out the gaps between the tracks and perform half a dozen tricks, you can start playing in public. Why? Because performing is where the real learning happens. Playing in front of other people is where you learn that DJing is a team game. You cannot learn football throwing a ball around in your backyard. You cannot learn DJing playing at home. And then finally, our fifth step of DJing is success, because nowadays DJing is not just about playing in the club, whatever some people might tell you. It's about all kinds of things. We've already talked about some of them, right? So this idea that every relevant skill in DJing is easy to work out for yourself was never the fact, and it isn't the fact today. I just completely disagree with that. And you'll never get more from being told something than from finding it out yourself. Well, no, if someone who is employed by someone they resent as a part-time DJ tutor gets tired of telling people things, then maybe you won't get more from that than from finding it out for yourself. But finding it out for yourself can be a thankless task. So the way we do it is you get shown, we explain, we get you to try, and then you ask questions. And look, this is the way that DJing can be taught by tutors. And also this idea that you work stuff out for yourself is also rubbish. Of course you don't work it out for yourself. You watch another DJ and you try and copy what they've done, whether that's on YouTube or in real life or whatever. Or you ask people, just because you're not paying for DJ lessons, it doesn't mean you're not asking people. Imagine there was a superstar DJ in the room now, right? And you were watching them and they had the time to talk to you about what they were doing. Would you kind of like, if they started offering you advice, would you say, no, I don't want your advice. No, I'm learning for myself. It's the only way to learn, No, don't tell me that thing you were going to tell me. No. Unless I find it out for myself, it's not worth learning. Of course you wouldn't. We all learn DJing by copying, by watching others, by talking to others, by talking to our friends. But guess what? Not everyone lives in Berlin or New York or London and is 22 years old and has a massive group of friends who are all DJs. Some people need to go find that. And that's where DJ schools can help. That's where forums can help, like this forum that this thing was on, which has upset me so much because it's a beginner forum, right? So beginners are being told, remember what it said at the top of this piece here, beginners are being told, I teach DJing courses. If you need one, reconsider DJing. You know, this is, I really don't like this stuff. So there we go. Every relevant skill in DJing is extremely simple to work out for yourself. No, it's not. And yes, you can get a lot from other people showing you. Of course you can. Anyway, this person goes, and like I say, I've got nothing against this person. It's a viewpoint that I understand, that I sympathize with, but I do not agree with it. So let's move on to the next part of this post. Anyway, these are the big characteristics of the people who, in my opinion, aren't going to make it. This isn't to say, if this is you, then quit while you're ahead. The title is a little sensationalist. Well, thank you for pointing that out finally, 15 paragraphs in. Rather, it's to say that if this is you, you'll get more out of changing these tendencies in yourself than you will out of any class, because they're what actually decides the future of this for you. Disagree, because some of the things that have been said are just plain wrong, so there's no need to change it. Right, so now the person now goes into 4 things that they think are wrong about the DJs they've been teaching. So we're going to go through all 4 of them. The first one, they're not curious or adventurous. They don't seek out new music outside of Beatport, Beatsource or Spotify. They don't have favourite artists, just favourite playlists or favourite DJs whose track IDs they're devoted to. They don't understand that there's often more of what you like on the same record label, and they often don't listen to music older than about 5 years or so. We'll tell them, help them to find that music, help to open their minds to stuff that didn't exist. When I was a young DJ, I didn't want to play any music that was older than about 6 weeks. Why? Because I was ignorant. I've already told you. It took me a while to learn that actually music's now got a 60-year heritage on vinyl and you can play it all. So help them. Don't criticize them for it. Help them. And yes, I totally get it. You know, we all know boring DJs who only play Beatport music, right? There is a lot more out there. But as I said at the beginning, it's about coming to this because you want to play the music you love. So the kind of things we teach DJs in this area, and this is the music, our second step, is, you know, there's a difference between being a collector of music, and a lot of people who come to us are collectors of music, lifetime collections and all that, and being a DJ where your music is your tool, right? It's a toolbox. A toolbox you don't want full of everything, right? So DJs, I've got 16 terabytes of music. How do I organize it? Well, get rid of 15.5 terabytes of it to start with, right? There's this difference between being a collector and being a DJ whose tools they know very well and they know how to use them, right? So this is one of the big things that you can teach about music. And we also teach listen wide, buy narrow. And we have techniques which are in the book. We have something called the playlist pyramid in there that helps you to listen to far more music than you think you can in 24/7, and then to filter it down very quickly to shortlisted music and then only buy the really important stuff. There are techniques you can use to do this, but also modern software will give you ways of getting to the right track right now, which you couldn't do with vinyl. And so we teach that as well. And this is all to help you, you know, beat the boring, beat the algorithms, beat the AI. One thing that we really dislike here at Digital DJ Tips is the services out there that tell you what to play next. No, that takes the heart and soul out of DJing, and I'm including AI in this as well. You know, you need to be better than that. And that's why we're so passionate about teaching it, because there are ways, and we're in it up to our necks, and a lot of our people aren't. A lot of our people, it's a hobby. It's something they want to learn when they've got time. So look, if you're not curious or adventurous, if you're not seeking out new music, maybe it's just something that you need a little nudge to help you with. But it's certainly not something that means you shouldn't try and learn DJing if you've got music you like and you're passionate about it. Right, the next one is they don't dance. So this is a bit misleading because it then goes on to say, I always ask people what clubs they like to go to and how often. If they just list off an annual festival or two, I'm getting the rich kid vibes again. Or if they say they listen to techno while they exercise and go out with friends infrequently, I know they'll be in for a rough time. You can't understand what works on the dance floor if you're not actually on the dance floor. Correct. You don't have to be out every weekend, but you have to have some idea of the world you're entering. Correct. You absolutely do. If you want to be a club DJ, you better get out there. Not only because you've got to know the music you want to play, but you've got to know everyone in that scene. You've got to have them all know you and like you, and you've got to really hustle for that first gig. So yes, absolutely true if you want to be a club DJ. But guess what? This is only relevant if you're chasing club gigs. If you're not chasing club gigs, who cares? And this is the point. The point here is that this is all skewed towards club gigs. So if you want to play gigs for your generation, your crowd, people your age, if you want to play parties, if you want to play corporate gigs, you want to play mobile gigs, look, this is a whole set of worlds that you need to know. But you don't need to know this one. You don't need to be out there in nightclubs every weekend. Knowing the crowd you want to play for and the audience you're going for is important. And that's right. So yes, if you are a part-time music fan who buys best of collections and listens to your favorite DJs playlist on Spotify and nothing else, and you go out twice a year, you ain't going to be the next big club DJ. But I'd say that's pretty much common sense, right? So there's not much being said there that we can't kind of like agree with. So the next one then down was they're obsessed with rules. So they want to, I can't get myself off the picture. In fact, I can, I'll do it that way. They're obsessed with rules. So we're down here towards the bottom now. Oh no, in fact, no, let's do this one first. They like music too much, right? This is not a problem in itself, says the person who wrote this, but loving everything you hear means you'll have a better time on the opposite side of the decks. If it renders students incapable of deciding what to play since they can't decide what not to play. This sounds like it could be right? Everything sounds good to them. To be a DJ, you have to be a little bit of a hater. When you're looking through music, you have to look down your nose and say, that sounds super tacky, or that drop isn't so good, or that vocal is stupid every so often. Otherwise, you're just playing whatever your search method serves you. Wow, you're a slave to the algorithms, just playing whatever your search method is searching to you. And you're mindlessly saying, oh, it's all good, I'm just going to play it. There's one person or one group of people that have been missed totally out of that. Right? So there's this person is saying there's two types of DJ. There's the ones who really have great taste and they know what they're going to play and what they're not going to play. And there's the ones who'll just play anything because they like it. But there's a third group of people, the ones you're playing to. And again, this is something we cover in the book really in some depth. If you're not, imagine a Venn diagram. There is one in this book somewhere, but imagine a Venn diagram where you've got you, your audience, and the person who's giving you the gig, right? These three circles, and they overlap. Surely the bit in the middle is what you should be aiming at as a DJ, where you're playing the music you were booked to play. The people on the dance floor are enjoying it, and it's also music you like, right? That's important. It's not just about you. It's just not about your taste and about whether you have got enough good taste to select good tunes or not. It's about all of those things. DJing can be about playing music that you don't particularly like, but you're using it to do a job on the dance floor. So it all depends the kind of DJing you are and the DJ you want to be. But look, if you're playing a mobile gig, that's very different to being a techno DJ producer artist playing in a cool trendy club, right? And everything in between. So this idea that you've got to have trendy taste in music to be a DJ, I don't buy it, because you could be alienating your audience, and there's bigger places to DJ than just the kind of clubs where that matters. So the notes I've got here is that yes, there's some truth in there, but taste can be developed anyway, right? You develop this over time. We were talking about it with music a little bit earlier. And it can be taught, right? We can show you this stuff. We can show you where music comes from, and you can learn it yourself. One of my favorite types of books to read. Now, I read all kinds of books at home when I'm trying to get to sleep at night. And one of the ones that I just find myself, turn to the first page and I'm still there an hour and a half later, it's 1 in the morning and I can't put them down, are the books where people in the music industry share their memoirs and share their life and what happened and so on. And I think partly the reason I love them is that they're always mentioning music. So I end up with my headphones in and I'm listening to the music that they're talking about. I love educating myself about music, especially if a book has put me kind of in the shoes of the people who were there at the time. This is stuff that you can share these stories with people who love DJing, and they go and do it and they start developing their own taste. And so look, yes, if you've got no clue about music, then it could be something that will stop you, but I don't think that's a real valid reason for not DJing. And then, like, if you've just joined us, we're talking here about a post on Reddit that said, I teach DJ courses, and if you need one, reconsider DJing, right? And I'm just trying to help people who think that might be me, to realize this is not good advice. Right, so the final thing that this anonymous person who wrote this said is this. The kind of DJs who can't be taught are obsessed with rules. We're at the bottom here. They want to have a flow chart in their minds of what exactly to do in every situation. We're 32 bars away from the break. Should I swap the bass now or leave it in? Should I start playing higher energy songs after these last few or maintain the energy for longer? Should I try this song even though it's not in a matching key? It's not wrong to ask, says our writer, but if the answer, there are no rules, try it out and see what sounds good, is frustrating rather than liberating, that's a very bad sign. This is an absolute dereliction of duty from any DJ tutor. There are no rules. Try it out and see what sounds good. Calm on. There are rules. It's all based around the rule of 4 to start with. 4 beats in a bar, 4 bars to 8 bars in a phrase, and then lining up phrases so that your songs sit nicely together. That can be taught very, very quickly. And the number of DJs who've been DJing for literally years who do not do what I just said is incredible. So the idea that a DJ who wants to know what the basic rules are is therefore disqualifying themselves from ever being a good DJ is absolute rubbish. The next thing that we teach does align a little bit with this, right? And it's this. The only person who doesn't hear your DJing how it really truly is, the only person in the world is you. And the reason is that you are doing it. You cannot judge your own DJing while you're doing it. Everyone else can. Your dog and cat, your wife, your husband, your kids, the people you're DJing to at your local, wherever, bar, lounge, club, festival. They all know exactly what you're doing. They can tell what you're doing. They're hearing your DJing for how it really is. You are not. So the answer to this question is not there are no rules, just see what sounds good. It's record your DJ sets and listen back to them. That's when you spot the good stuff that you thought was pretty poor, or the stuff that you were really worried about, but actually it sounded all right. That's how you learn. You learn DJing in 2 ways. 1, by doing it in front of other people, and 2, by listening back to what you did. So the idea that there are no rules in DJing, just do it and see what sounds good, is dereliction of duty from a DJ tutor. I was astounded to read that. So anyway, this person, and I'm sorry if whoever it is sees this and says, oh, this is a bit much, but look, my loyalty is to people who want to learn DJing, and I disagree with pretty much all of this. I don't want this to put people off. The person signs off by saying, anyways, best of luck to all learning and to anyone else hanging around here who might also teach lessons. Is it the same where you are? Are people more tuned up in Berlin or London or wherever? Look, we teach DJs all over the world, and let me tell you, DJs in suburban towns where there ain't no club and they've just got a part of music they've always wanted to learn to mix with, they're clued up. And we help that kind of people to learn. So look, learning from great teachers will get you there faster. They're going to answer questions for you. They're going to give you feedback. They're going to coach you. They're going to share their stories with you. They're going to encourage you. And this is all very, very valuable stuff, especially if you're not somewhere where you've got this naturally around you. So I want to close by giving a few tips. If you've watched this and you thought, well, hang on, okay, kind of get it, but this guy might have a point. Should I take some DJ training to get me where I want to be in my DJing? Let me share with you 3 tips. So the first tip is, don't let anyone tell you that. Of course it's teachable, and teachers who are passionate about it can teach it to you. It doesn't have to be me or my team. It can be any passionate DJ tutor. Certainly don't find someone who says, oh, if you need my lessons, then maybe you should reconsider. But be careful about schools that promise you the earth. We can show you how to DJ like a pro. We will not turn you into a pro. That's the difference. Secondly, sharing the music that you love with other people is reason enough to want to learn to DJ. That's enough. It's not silly. It doesn't mean you're a fool. It doesn't mean that you're crazy for wanting to do this. If you want to share the music you love with other people, you should learn to DJ, because if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? And pick a teacher who's serious. That'll be my final thing here. Not someone who's struggling to be a DJ themselves and is making extra money with a DJ school that they don't respect and that they know is telling lies to the students, and they feel it's all worthless. Honestly, if I was in that situation, I'd probably end up after a little while writing a post as off-putting to beginners as the one I've just shared with you. Okay, so I want to tell you now about, before we go to your worst DJ advice, which we're going to end off with here, about the 3 types of students that come to us here at Digital DJ Tips. We are, if you don't know who we are one of the biggest DJ schools in the world. We've been doing this since 2010. We've got tens of thousands of students all over the world. We do it all online. And we get 3 main types of student. Student number 1 is the person who needs all the essentials of DJing really, really fast. They've promised a DJ gig and they've never DJed before. Like, I want to play my sister's wedding and I've got the music, but I've never learned. Or they're very busy and they just want to learn DJing. It's one of the many hobbies they've lined up to do. If not now, then when, right? They just want to learn the essentials. This is a particular type of person. They're urgent, they're in a rush, they're probably a kind of an A personality, an A type who's a go-getter, and just needs to be shown very quickly. And guess what? There's 5 things you need to learn. They're all in this book. And that kind of DJ is often doing it for a particular reason. So as I said, it could be a sister's wedding or brother's, you know, bar mitzvah or whatever. But it could also be for instance, we've taught band members. So you've got a band like a tribute band or a band that plays at corporate events and so on. And they've always had to book a DJ to play after. And then one of the band members says, well, why don't I learn to DJ so we can keep all the money? We'll do our set and then I'll just play the music for the last hour, right? So, and producers as well, we get music producers who want to DJ their own music, right? So people with a reason to learn DJing, but it's not going to be the rest of their lives. It's just a purpose, beginning, middle and end. They always go for our complete DJ course. It's our most popular course and it teaches exactly what I just said. You can find it on the Digital DJ Tips website if you're interested in taking a look at that, as with all the things that we're talking about now. Actually, I won't show you. We'll race through this. Now, the second type of DJ we get are the ones who are stuck in a rut, right? They've been DJing for a long time. They're good. They've played gigs. They probably make a bit of money, but they're just losing the passion. They're just like, is this all there is to it? We get a lot of DJs like that. And what they want is mixing skills. Now, mixing is our third step in this book. Remember, music, gear, mixing, performing and success. Mixing is what everyone thinks DJing is. But of course, without understanding the gear and without knowing about the music, you've got no music to mix on the gear. So you can't do it. So look, these DJs have got all that figured out, right? They just need ideas. They want cookbooks. They want us to show them tricks they don't know. And they go for our mixing courses. We've got loads of mixing courses. We've got courses that literally say, okay, we're going to teach you some mixing. We've got ones that we've done that teach house. And we've got ones that Ferry Corsten teaches trance. James Hype teaches big room. Jazzy Jeff teaches scratching and hip hop DJing. I could go on and on and on. We've got loads of mixing courses, loads of them. So people go in there, pick the one that they like the look of, buy it, learn the techniques. They're invigorated. They're back to loving DJing, right? The third type of student that we get is the person who's always loved DJing all their lives, and they know they're serious about it, and more importantly, they know it's never going to leave them. This is something they know they can't get too much of, right? They just want it to be part of their lives forever, whether it's just the best hobby in the world or whether it's something that they want to do maybe to make a bit of money from. But whatever it is, they just want to be as close to DJing as possible for as long as possible because of everything it gives them, right? And so for those DJs, we have something called our All Access Pass, which is basically everything our DJ school does, not only now, but forever. Our All Access Pass is quite expensive, but once you've got it, you've got it. And then you're just in. You get all the courses, you get all the mixed deconstructions, you get all the mini set courses that we teach. You get everything we do in the future. You get the community, you get the webinars, you get me inside the private groups, etc., etc., etc. Very, very different to the last two groups of people. One of them wants to get in and out and get the job done. The other one wants to just get their DJing back on track with some new tricks. But this kind of person is the kind of person who just wants to, you know, pay that one fee and then be one of us forever, right? So they're the three types of students we get. And we feel we're pretty good at serving all of them. So this idea that you cannot learn from a DJ school, and if you think you need to learn from a DJ school, you're doing it wrong. You're in the wrong place. Look, you can probably tell by now, I'm totally against. And I want to come back finally to the one thing I was talking about at the beginning and again in the middle. I'm a runner, right? Running is my passion outside of what I'm doing here now. And I absolutely adore the world of running. My wife does too. My kids roll their eyes at every dinner table because we're talking about all kinds of stuff that, well, you can imagine teenagers sat with two middle-aged people chatting running, right? But running is my passion. I'm decent for my age, but I ain't no podium runner. I'm never going to be, you know, up there collecting the trophies. I know that. Of course I know that. Doesn't mean I don't like being coached. I pay for one of the best coaches that I can afford to coach me, and had a wonderful time with him actually on the 1st of January. He flew in here to coach a few of us. I like having a coach because they help to set your goals. They can tell you things about your technique. As I said at the beginning, can you imagine that some guy you see in a local park run, can you give me some technique training for my running, please? Of course not. You're going to go to the best that you can afford, aren't you? And so, look, in my case, it's running technique. I'm making sure that I'm doing it right. They video you and they'll show you what you're doing wrong and all this stuff. It's reassurance. You know, you have a bad run, having someone to talk to who's spoken to and been there 1,000 times before can really, really help you. Just like if you have a bad gig, you can come into the community, you can go to the lessons, you can chat to us about it and we can help you. It's feedback on what you've done, but it's stories as well. It's feeling closer to the thing you love, whether that's running or DJing or whatever your hobby is. That's all stuff that you can get from coaches and from training and from tutors and from teachers who are passionate about teaching. And I think this is part of what I'm trying to say here. And also, quite frankly, this guy I use, he's been with the best. He's been literally coaching and running and training with the people who win the biggest marathons and the biggest races in the world. And for me, just to be near to someone who's been in that world and who's been with these people, it's a buzz, it's a thrill. I love it. And that's okay. Coming to tutors, coming to schools that have got the best tutors in the world, the best DJs in the world, like Jeff, like Hype and so on, and learning from them is a buzz. It's great. It doesn't mean you're going to be them. I can't teach you to be James Hype or Jazzy Jeff. I'm not going to promise it like this person's boss does, but we can certainly get you that buzz of being near them and learning from them and enjoying your DJ more from it. This has been one of the longest live shows I've ever done. And that's because we're a DJ school. We've been doing it for a decade and a half. And that really upset me because I know how much it's going to put off the kind of people that we want to help. Because I know what beginner DJs are like. And so I hope I've given a riposte to this kind of rather jaded view of DJing in this post that I saw the other day on Reddit. Now, I've got 2 more things to do. I've got a little bit of a bombshell at the end of today's show. I might be understating that in a British kind of way, but I also want to now go and spend some time with you guys and girls because you've been very patient, listened to me rant for quite a long time, and I want to see what you think about this. So let's go to the chat box and do exactly that. Right, okay. I'm going to race through this because I know there's a lot here. So this is just a few hellos. Hello to Kesha and hello to Craig and hello to Mike and Regina and Mixmaster John Roback. Good to see you, my friend. Not seen you for a while. Hello to Java Man Sanchez and to Keith and to DJ Belter. Okay. So right now we'll get onto your comments here. Well, we've heard this one before, says Acone Music. I think we never stop learning. And the best way of improving as a DJ is to do that, whether it's a hobby or a main income. So yeah, I agree with you. Ageliki says that's really bad advice. From Reddit, people are always learning. No one knows everything. Life changes. Well, that's another thing. DJing is always changing. Our job is to keep on top of it and tell you what you need to know. Just because you can teach yourself something, says Scradgy on YouTube, doesn't mean that you can't learn to do it better from others and quicker from others. Quicker is the key here. DJ schools don't get you into clubs nowadays. I don't think they ever did, Ron, on Facebook. I totally agree with you there as well. Dr. Clara says, Phil is angry today. I prefer passionate to angry. I'm too old to get angry. So what else have we got here? This is closed-minded rage bait rant. Well, I don't know. I do sympathise with the view. It was well put, but I have no interest in being a club DJ, says DJ Machiavelli on YouTube. I'm happy and content to be a bedroom live streaming DJ. This is a hobby for me, but I've always loved music, and seeing so many talented DJs is all that motivates me. I love that. And goes on to say, I've run into some definite criticism and hate from older DJs who are gatekeeping and trashing me for what I want to do. Well, I think you've got some ammunition against that, haven't you? Trumpet Guy says, sounds like someone who had fast success in the beginning, who put a shingle out to teach but doesn't know how to share the ideas effectively. The thing is, teaching is in itself an art form. I always say, you know, I love the teaching as much as the DJing nowadays. I really get so much from watching the penny drop and watching people get it. One of my favorite times of the day, so in the beginning of the day here at Digital DJ Tips, we open our browsers and we open the school courses, and the courses have comments, and the comments all pop in, and we sit there for an hour. There's 2 or 3 tutors who do this for an hour or 2 every morning, literally just looking at student feedback and asking questions of the students and helping them and so on. But what happens is that 2/3 of the time, all that the students are saying is things like, thank you so much. And then here's the fun bit. So thank you is great to hear. You know, it's great to be doing some good in the world, but having people clapping you as you do it. But the really interesting thing is that a lot of the time they say, you've helped me to understand that I've been doing it right all along, right? So it's reassurance, because if people have learned teaching themselves because they had no choice. We've had some DJs who've been DJing for literally decades who are like, oh, I've always done it like that too. It's so glad to hear that other DJs do that. So it's this connecting to a community of DJs can be important as well. What else have we got here? This is from DJ Philip Tan. I teach courses in DJ history and technique in college, and students tell me they appreciate learning about DJs from very different traditions, e.g. house, hip hop, Jamaican sound system, etc. I love it, definitely. A DJ is always learning. DJ Kev, thank you for that. You might think you know DJing, but you can always learn something new or didn't know. DJ Vitonis, I bought your book, Phil. Thank you very much for that. So I just ordered a System 1 after watching your outstanding deep dive, says Doombrain. This is another thing we do. We do all this for free, by the way. So on the YouTube channel for Digital DJ Tips, we give away what we call video manuals and training tutorials. So they tend to be about 2 hours long, and there'll be a big piece of gear, like you know, whatever it might be. But it'll always be the big 1,000+ price pieces of gear. And we teach it absolutely everything about how it works. And the reason we do that for free is that we don't want people coming to our lessons and thinking that lessons are about DJ gear. Of course, you need to know the basics about how universal DJ systems work, but it's not about your piece of DJ gear. It's not about the functions and features on your equipment, because DJ is universal, right? So we teach that bit for free. So when people get to the lessons, we can teach the creative stuff, the real stuff that they want to learn. I love this. I'm not going to push on too far here, and there's some wonderful comments here, but I'm not going to push on too far because we've been going on for a long time today, and there is a good reason for that, which I'm going to get to at the end. It's my bombshell. But Easy DJ says, I've been downloading inappropriate voice messages from WhatsApp and scratching them over tunes. It's flipping hilarious. I'd highly recommend it. That's the worst piece of DJ advice I can give. Yeah, I did ask for your worst DJ advice, didn't I? So Easy DJ is passing on some bad DJ advice. I love it. I love older music. The older the better, says ATI. No, you didn't say the older the better. You just said old music sounds better. Yeah, I love music, new and old. I've got to be honest. As I've got older, I've appreciated stuff from before I was born in a way I didn't when I was younger. That's for certain. Keith says, I look at courses as a way to get the tools to do DJing. I then build on these, which leads to creativity and success. You have to put the work in, but without the things learned from courses, it will take a long time or hit a ceiling very quickly. I love that. Yeah, it's we're coming back to this thing about time, aren't we? I've DJed everywhere from festival stages to cat shelter fundraisers, says Michael. You'd be surprised at how many different DJs are used in places that have nothing to do with clubs. Oh, well, some people watching this might be, but we're not. DJing's been bigger than the club for many, many, many years now. That said, Sergio does not agree with me, but does agree with this poster. Says the greatest musicians or DJs have never been to any school. They learn some basic skills and the rest is pure talent. You have it or you don't. But the word greatest there is the giveaway. The greatest runners in the world have not necessarily had a coach. They're just the greatest, but you can count them on one hand. What about everyone else? Can we try and help those people maybe? This is my point. I think we're going to leave that there now. Thank you so much everyone for commenting. And the reason I tried to read as many as I could out, even though I have overrun today by quite an amount, is that I've got a bit of a bombshell to drop. This slot, this Tuesday, 4 p.m. London, 11 a.m. Eastern slot. Tuesday used to be called Tuesday Tips Live. It's been called Tuesday Live Lesson for a few years now. Has been an incredible learning resource for our community. They tell us that, and it's been a wonderful thing to do. We've done it for nearly 10 years. We were doing it before the whole coronavirus thing. In that period of time, this became very, very important. We introduced Thursday and Friday as well at that time and started doing weekend live streams just to keep everyone sane. And then since then, we've continued with our Tuesday live streams here on YouTube, Facebook and Twitch. And on Thursdays, we're live inside our student platforms where we do this kind of thing, but it's more intimate with our students and me and the team. And, you know, it's more of a collaborative thing. However, this is the very last Tuesday live lesson from Digital DJ Tips. This slot is now going to be something different every Tuesday. And I'm going to tell you what's coming instead and why. So what we've realized is that These videos are quite hard to do already. We have to script everything. We have to get everything planned. It takes a lot of the time from our team here to do a good live show. And there's a lot of things we want to do in these shows, a lot of training we want to do that would take too long to set up, that would involve equipment and camera angles and practice and B-roll and all these kind of things that really, in a small team, there's only 6 of us here, in a small team would be too much. And we're letting you down by not teaching you these things for free in public once a week. This is our free teaching slot, right? And there's so much we want to do. So we're going to stop as of next week, the Tuesday live lesson, and we're going to replace it with a new latest tutorial. There's going to be a tutorial every week, which is going to be especially for our regulars here. It's going to release at this time. We're going to be here in the comments to chat to you about it. Same time, 5 p.m. East, 5 p.m. Central Europe, where we are, 4 p.m. London, 11 a.m. Eastern. So nothing will change. It'll still be the team and myself doing it, but the training will become more varied and hopefully more useful to you. And we will be there anyway in the comments to help you and to chat to you on Facebook and YouTube and so on. So a bit of a change. What we will do is have a kind of emergency live show when big things happen. Right, so there's a big gear release, or a company goes bust, God forbid, or there's a merger, or whatever. If there's something that we really want to cover in a timely fashion and we want to go live and just talk to you guys and girls about it, we will go live. Of course we will. It might not be on a Tuesday at that time because, hey, things happen at different times. We'll just go live, right? So it's not like we're going to stop doing this stuff, but we want to use the slot for something that's even more value added for our many, many thousands of subscribers and followers, right? So more free training, more varied free training, high quality free training, but less live training from Digital DJ Tips from here forward. So I guess that just leaves me to say thank you so much for literally 10 years to all the people, some of whom I mentioned at the very top of the show. You know who you are, who've propped this up, who've helped us through the times, thick and thin, good and bad. It's been emotional, and it isn't goodbye. It's just goodbye for every single week on this stuff. Brian says, I'm so glad I happened to pop in for the last live. You've been a big part of helping me to get through the pandemic and learning so many great ideas as well. Hey, it's Aeon says, this is an interesting change. Let's see how it works out. Kesha says, wow, I can't even read the comments. They're flying in so quick for our last ever show. Oh, wow, no, this has been so helpful this last few years and such a great little break from my crap Tuesdays. But I'm so grateful for this. Well, it's still going to be a break from your crap Tuesdays. It's just you'll be tuning in for a video we spent a bit more time in pre-production with. And thank you very much to everyone else. Dr. Clara, Bill Payer, I Am Preacher Man, who says peace. You guys rock. Thank you for everything. Thank you, DJ Quickie Music. And thank you for persevering with the most passionate rant on Digital DJ Tips for some time. But I thought it really had to be done. I am going to say, get good. Get out there, make the moments, and I will see you very soon. Meanwhile, though, from the studio here,